for something like a multivitamin, I mean, I think for most people, the reason why you probably don't supplement with more things is just because you don't want to like spend a ton of money on it.
Right.
I mean, if I had $1,000 a month to spend on supplements, I would buy as many as I could with that amount. Sure. But like, it's discretionary income for most people. I mean, for some, supplements are, essential, and like people will almost see that as part of their like the income that they have to spend. It's like you're buying groceries, well, I have to buy my supplements. But
Right.
I think that for something like a multivitamin, it's pretty cheap, and at the least, if you're getting more than the recommended amount of something, you're just gonna like pee it out.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But yeah, the problem is, and I hate to like drop a name and like talk about something like with Athletic Greens, but it's a perfect example where their whole kind of marketing thing is it's nutritional insurance. So that's fine, but like, do you want to take something that's insurance if you're not like, necessarily deficient in it? So, I mean, I think it can be good, and it's not necessarily, I don't think there's harm in doing that. But like you said, I think doing a well-balanced diet, for one, they're called supplements for a reason. They're meant to supplement
It's in
the
the name.
diet. They're not meant to, I don't have to eat veggies now that I'm having my, greens shake every day. You should probably still eat vegetables for the fiber and things like that. But I think identifying, like you said, gaps in your diet or areas where you think you might want more of something. So like creatine, I think, is a good example where we get creatine from the diet. So probably 2 to 3 grams per day, maybe if you're eating, some meat and like fish like every day, but not in like huge quantities. If you're eating like a carnivore diet or something, I mean, you're probably getting like 5 to 10 grams of creatine per day. You probably don't need to supplement, but like, it's one of those things where I think providing a little bit more can probably have a benefit. It's not like a minimal essential like nutrient. So I think something like that. But that, I think creatine kind of falls in the line of a performance enhancing supplement versus like a daily, like a multivitamin or something like that. But so I think in general, I mean, aside from like a daily multivitamin, I think with most other things, people should think about whether they need it or not, and whether it can, you could put something in your diet to replace that versus buying a supplement, because diet's probably going to be a bit more bioavailable. It's going to be a bit more cheaper, and most people would probably rather eat food than like take a supplement. So I think just, identifying, can I get this from food? If I can't, maybe I should consider supplementing it. But then also think about like whether you're deficient in it, and if increasing your intake of something is actually going to like provide a benefit, or does a deficiency in that nutrient provide kind of like a detriment. So I think it's important to think about versus just, I think people have like this almost like fear of missing out kind of around supplements. I mean, myself included. I mean, you see all these like supplements going around, and like all these podcasts talking about, oh, this new supplement does this. And I'm like, oh, I want to try all these to see if, it benefits my health and benefits my performance. But I think that can lead to some urgency to like go out and do it without kind of doing like an analysis of how does this fit into, my life, and do I actually even need this?
Yeah. Do you think it's fair to say, like, if someone is looking to potentially, let's say someone has the discretionary income to spend on some supplements, and they're like, well, I want to be smart about it though, I'm not just going to go and buy every supplement that pops up. Is it fair to say if you get like a pretty comprehensive blood test that's going to highlight maybe the spots you'd want to focus on more? Or?
I would think so, but I mean, with blood tests, it's like, it's interesting because you're getting a snapshot of just like one time during the day, and like, was it after you exercised, or what did you do the day before? So I think that they can definitely be informative, and I think that most people should probably get regular blood tests to identify like a deficiency. But I mean, I think that's probably the best way for somebody to do it, based just off of feeling, or somebody saying that most people are vitamin D deficient, so you probably are too. Like, go get a test to see if that's actually true.
Yeah, there's probably some things where, like, just by the averages, you're more likely to, or higher risk of being deficient at. And then if the blood test confirms that, then you can maybe trust it a little more.
Yeah.
So like vitamin D might be one of them.
Yeah. And I think too, most people will say regarding supplements that like, well, you don't need this because you can get it in plenty amounts in the diet. I think there's some indication that like people will talk about like the soils are depleted in nutrients and things like that.